and welcome back. Picking up where we left off last time in Victoria 3 as the Great Qing. In this part, we're going to be trying to get in recognition so we can stop being an unrecognized nation off of Russia, off of defeating Russia by improving relations with the French. This is my third time attempting to record this. First time we had a bunch of interruptions, and I made due to being distracted from those interruptions, made some stupid mistakes. The second time, oops, wrong button. Second time I made a mistake, and a component of that mistake resulted in us winning the recognition war a little too early. And its side effect didn't actually get recognition because we didn't have enough opinion with the French. So we're doing this take 3. At this point, obviously, I've won. Actually, as much as it might seem that this is the third attempt at what is otherwise 2 blooper episodes, and none of the times I've actually, lost the war. Just they weren't great recordings. The first time obviously had that situation where we won the war, but won it too quickly, which is its own sort of problem. So part of winning the war, basically we need to stall long enough that we hit 50 opinion with the French. Usually I do that stalling during the war, and what I screwed up was what normally doesn't happen is Korea doesn't really join the war. So I had brigades on attack to kill Korea, or to defeat Korea, and they did. And then they turned around and attacked into Russia, making us win against Russia before we were ready, which was a big whoops, and hopefully won't happen again. Okay, that should be enough promotions for the moment. So yeah, the big plan going forward is we're gonna get colonization. Once we have colonization, we should be in a position. Once we have colonization, we should be in a position to start the recognition war. As long as we end the recognition war in a win, where we have 50 opinions in France, we'll gain recognition, which will help with a lot of different things. I'll explain that once we get there. We're fairly likely to win the war because we've gone ahead and picked up line infantry in the earlier parts. Once that's done, we're going to be working primarily towards railways. Well, we'll by spread pick up lathe on the way. We'll do some refactoring of the economy once lathe arrives. So let's go ahead and unpause the game and let some stuff happen. I suppose one thing that I've brought up a couple different times in earlier versions of this video is, one of the things that China has that's special is that the armed forces has a newly created army. Some of the changes I just did promoted the armed forces up to powerful, so the bonus right now is doubled. But the bonus here is, instead of bonuses to attack and defense, your military costs are cheaper. So we've got a fairly cheap army from a goods cost standpoint. And you're still buying those goods, which means those industries still benefit from you buying those goods. So having a big army as China can be surprisingly effective at generating potential industry. And in a way, sort of generating potential money, right? So the cost is 30% less cost for us as the government, but the industry still receives the full cost. Don't ask me how that works. And that combines with the modifier on peasant army, which is a 10% down as well. And combines with the one from your power block that you can have. So you can basically be paying half price for your military goods, and your factory somehow still get the full price of stuff. So that's a way to sort of pull money from the void if you want to go that path. Oh, I haven't had this in before. We'll go industrialists. Both the trade unions and industrialists are marginalized right now. We are going to want to not have the industrialists be marginalized at some point. but for the moment they are. Okay, Korea stopped damaging relations. If everything goes well this time, the Koreans should calm down, hopefully. I might actually just exempt them from service. It's not like they're useful in any war. We'll do the same thing, and Tibet. But yeah, in the first attempt, everything went according to plan, and it was just all the interruptions. That video just made me feel like it was a great recording. In the second attempt, because we actually got the war to go off at the right time. For whatever reason, Korea here was grumpy enough that they joined the opposition, trying to get their independence, which threw a spanner in the works. It was a spanner that was easy to deal with, just if I paid a little more attention and told the army that came off of this front to go onto the defensive after they were done with Korea, everything would have been fine, but I didn't, and that screwed it up. Anyway, so we're getting a event related to the Spanish League instead of related to the Russian League, which is fine. Yep, sure, join the Anti-Spanish League. We'll probably have to be mean to Spain at some point. Okay, so we just got embargoed by the UK, which isn't really an issue. Maybe getting guns a little bit more complicated. We'll just start preemptively buying off of the French then. There's our lathe. So that's gonna time to deal a little bit more with our PMs. We can swap over to sweeteners, can swap over to dye workshops, swap over to lathes. We can find one glassworks. It's a level 2 one. Swap it to leaded glass, and that one I'm actually going to go ahead and subsidize, just so it keeps working. Come down the list. There's nothing we're going to change here. We want logging camps on sawmills, fishing trawlers. We're going to subsidize these two. This should, going forward, now produce enough lead. Now I actually have a lead consumer, so it'll be profitable. And that's our PM changes for the moment. And now we're waiting just for colonization for that war declaration. We probably won't be able to declare war right away. I think from taking down a level last time on the Russians, we got an event that sped it up a little bit. Yeah, but we need the Russians to be below 20 opinion to declare on them. So we'll get colonization off a little earlier. I have to wait just a little bit for it. And with that done, obviously we want complete atmospheric engines. Actually, this time, I think this time from a tech spread standpoint, we got off a little lucky. Previously, I had intensive agriculture on the last one. This time we got mechanical tools, which is actually, of the 6 it could pick from, was probably one of the better 2. Because we want to finish atmospheric engines, then mechanical tools, and then railways. So that's a good spread for us. And at this point, it has to spread either army reserves or Napoleonic warfare. We're not really going to take advantage of either of them right away. And yeah, we're waiting for Russia to drop just below 20, and then we'll go ahead and start the war. And this time, if I'm a little bit more careful, I will be able to manage stalling the war a little bit better. We lost our admiral. We'll just become a military admiral, armed forces admiral. Okay, there we go. So, usually for the recognition war, I take 2 of Russia's coastal states. So we take Otesk here. That will start the war. I don't need to piss off the Russians anymore, so we take the diplomat back from them. We mobilize, raise conscripts. Mobilize, raise conscripts. And mobilize. This small one's going to be the one I do naval landings with. These brigades are all on the defensive. We lost a guy here, so we need to grab another one quickly. So we can support the conscripts that are coming up. And if we can, let's see, can we get a... Yeah, propose the trade agreement with France. That'll make us have to stall for less time. As well as make it a little bit easier for us to import more guns. Before this thing goes ahead and ticks into the last phase, we need to go ahead and put the rest of our war goals in. We want war operations. I want one of the states over here, Kamchatka. And then we're going to revoke claim. Doesn't really matter which one. We'll take it to Sakhalin Island to claim away. And then revoke one more claim. Kuban will work. And then we'll primary the ones we actually want. This should now be the war we want. And now we're just waiting for the war to start. And then we naval land over here. The Russians at this point don't have a Pacific fleet, so we should be able to basically get a free landing. And they're going to put most of their army on the border with us. So yeah, just like that, we get a free landing. We grab these guys, we tell them to do another landing on the second objective. And you can see, we outnumber the Russians enough on this front right now. The Russians are not willing to actually attack us. And there's a couple different ways we can end the war once we're done stalling. We can either tell our units to just attack and use our raw numbers to try to beat the Russians back. Or, much like we've been naval landing over there, they don't have a Barrett Sea fleet by default, so you can land on Archangelisk over here fairly reliably. But yeah, right now we're kind of in the stall until the French like us point of view. And yeah, because I preemptively improved relations with the Korea did not screw the war up. So much better attempt. Whatever else just died. Wish it would tell you where they were so we know which one to replace. It's this one. And yeah, as the Russians bring more and more troops in, it gets a little bit less feasible to just attack, which is why we're going to do the naval landing option here. Okay, that should be low enough to do the naval landing. Archangel. Oops, wrong one. That one. Go. Now this would not work if the Russians tried to block the naval landing with groups on the ground, or if they send boats over to intercept. Now, the boats are a little bit easier to stop because it's a longer way from China to here than it is from the Russian ports to the Barents Sea. So one of the things we can do, and probably will do, is if they do send boats to intercept us, we'll cancel the invasion, and then their boats will go back to port, and our boats start going back to port. But then we just tell ours to turn around, and theirs will keep going back to port. Yeah, and at this point we should really get up to 50 opinion with France before we win the war. Last time I won too quickly. A shame. And there we go. We're an Archangel, so we're on the objective. It's going to take the Russians a little bit of time to turn their entire army back around to run over to Archangel. We put that brigade on the defense, because all he needs to do is stall. And there's a decent possibility that because there's the 30 unit here, that we'll get shoved back into the sea. But if we get shoved back into the sea, we just repeat. Wait, there's atmospheric engines. So now we do mechanical tools. I don't think I've put the coal in the... No, I did that last time. We'll do it this time as well. Two domestic states with the highest potential earnings for coal. We put one coal mine in. And then we go ahead and subsidize those as well. When we finish mechanical tools, we're going to take all three of these mine types and we're going to swap them over to atmospheric engines. So that we can complete the... Oh, the journal entries. Complete the atmospheric engine journal entry here. And yeah, we won't have to take the Russians all the way down to -100. We just have to take them to some degree in the negative. So we wait for all the Russians to run away, because they've got a big scary Chinese front on the other front. And then we just turn around and do a naval invasion. And yeah, so now we just have to take them down to like -57 war support. I did not know that Austria was involved in the war this time. This shows you how much of a difference Austria made. And yeah, we have 50 opinion of France, so as soon as we win, we'll complete earning recognition. I may have to do another naval landing trick depending on how quickly the Russians throw us off here. No. I suppose I could have right-clicked on that to say no to it as well, but we opened it up. If you were paying attention, you would have seen what that was. I don't need to say yes to that. Yeah, we're back on shore. And just like that, we have recognition. Qing French Treaty of Commerce and Navigation. The new dawn for the Great Qing ratify the treaty. So we're now recognized. Before I click that, we can do a little bit before and after. So one of the major things that recognition affects is your interest rate. So by default, unrecognized nations pay more interest. By default, unrecognized nations are capped at being unrecognized majors. when we press this button and we become recognized, we will no longer be unrecognized, obviously. And based on our prestige, we'll probably be the second most powerful nation in the world. So our interest rate is going to crash, which will make it much, much more feasible to take loans. Right? So right now we actually have a little bit of debt, because we ran up a little bit of debt during the war. So we're actually paying quite a bit in interest right now, right? We're paying just under 1,000 in interest. We press this button. Our interest rate went from 30-something% to 10%. So that just reduced our interest by a third. And that makes a surprisingly big difference. Refresh the tooltip there. Surprisingly big difference. I don't want mutual investment rights with you, because you'll buy all my stuff, and I don't want that. But yeah, so that's one of the reasons we went for that right away. Get this guy to come back to port. Armies will go back to their stations. So now we're much more willing to spend ourselves into minor debt because we have significantly reduced interest. Defensive alliance, sure. That'll keep the British and the Russians off of my butt. And now the only thing I'm really missing is we're going to want to pick up swapping over to a better tax system. So we probably want to move over to egalitarianism. But first, we're going to go railroads, and we're going to move towards egalitarianism. Probably once we have railroads, we'll probably work down to banking to lower the interest rate even more. And then I might do egalitarianism, why the spread gives us empiricism. If we don't know necessarily which one it's spreading to right now. Just finished one, I think. No, it's doing currency sandwiches. Yeah, coming up close to being done with our paper expansion. Which is all fine and dandy. Paper is still probably our biggest expense as the government right now. Because Chinese bureaucracy is massive by necessity. Yeah, we're spending 142,000 on paper. Which is about a fourth of the national budget on paper. One thing I can do is I can raise taxes a little bit. Come over here, grab tobacco tax. Crash the government wages again. Save some money. What is our gun? Okay, so we got a domestic demand for like 500 plus guns. So I don't want to do more paper. No, we probably want to do guns. We'll do guns. We'll come back to paper. Probably not actually by doing paper, but by doing sulfur. Sulfur, so we can upgrade the PM on the paper. Because right now we're on the first PM. It would be much more efficient to be on the second PM. But yeah, we're going to do some gun production after the coal mine. Yeah, we'll do like 10. So actually, let's sort by unemployed. Most unemployed. We're going to do 10. Again, spread out across the nation because we rally troops from everywhere, which means minimizing MAPI requires recruiting or having guns be produced everywhere. It's projecting that the earnings are going to be negative. That's actually because we're going to be sending small arms to the... It appears we're sending small arms to, like, nothing. That's not quite the case, because as we build more guns, we're going to just import less. there's our precision tools. So we're going to start up on railroads. Now that we're on precision tools, it's time to atmospheric engine here, and atmospheric engine here. And then we might want to import a little bit of coal to jumpstart it. Who's the best coal import? France is the best coal import. Okay. And we're importing the coal just because we haven't built our coal mines yet. There we go. So now hopefully speaking, our mines should begin to turn enough of a profit. Oh, of course, we got another one that turned on. Okay, there's a solution to that. That's come over to all the glassworks, leaded glass. That'll just in time encourage the civilian government to build up more lead. Okay, so what are we missing here? 62.5. Okay, almost there. Any month now. Oh, and the private economy made a coal mine. That's fine. Nope, some went down. Probably because the cash reserves dropped. Probably on the iron mines, I would guess. Or it's counting the coal mines that we just started building against us, that would be mean if it's doing that. We're not necessarily in a rush. This is going to provide a big boost to getting railways done, but it is necessary for getting that done. Minoritarian traditionalist. You know what? Sure, we'll let him in. One thing I could do, and I might do, is... Well, no, we'll have to lower relations. We'll do that. We want Macau back at some point from the Portuguese, so that if we ever swap off of no migration, or off for closed borders, then we can immediately deal with the missionary problem. Okay, so now they definitely count against us, but hopefully we should be getting close to getting atmospheric engine complete. What's our markets looking like? We're probably pretty bad on lead at the moment. Yeah. Let's import some lead. From the French, of all people. Surprised your profitability is... Well, we're building a bunch of stuff that's going to consume iron, so hopefully that'll fix itself really quickly. Actually, what is our iron balance right now? Plus 180. Okay. I can work with that. That's easy to work with. Let's swap High Bay over to iron frame buildings. I'll give us a bit more construction points. Allow us to spend some of our surplus a little bit more, and provide more demand for all that iron to get those filling up. There we go. Atmosphere engine is complete. This has great implications for transport. Gain 3.5 thousand progress to railways. And you can see all the swing on that technology there. So it basically gave us doubled what we had stockpiled towards railways. So we should have railways done in 11 months now. I should be reminding myself. So we're not in laissez-faire yet, so I have to do... Governor, please. Need to remind myself that I need to press the please privatize button on everything the government owns, so that it gets privatized. And we're probably going to want to start to build up our construction sector more. Now that we don't have any immediate upcoming... Well, we have one expanse, which we're going to go into... take the territory off of Russia and the Portuguese here. I'm going to accelerate that a little bit. We're going to go ahead and click on Portugal, and we're going to expel the diplomats, which is going to cost us some infamy. We're good for it at the moment. If you were a little bit less expecting this to go well, you might save before doing this, but we're just gonna do it. Okay, so they do want to keep their trade port, so we'll go ahead, raise, mobilize, deploy. Basically, we're trying to intimidate the Portuguese down. We're only taking. I'm going to try to take one thing off of them. Okay, we got here. Great Britain's joining the side. We'll see if anyone else joins the other side. They're just straight up offering to provide military assistance to our country? Of course I'll take that. Another minus 10% military goods cost. Gotta make that military cheap. Why are the French? Oh, the French were on board the previous time we did this because the Spanish joined the war. And apparently the Spanish can't join this time. Okay, now they're willing to join. So I could give them investment rights, which I don't really want to do. I could just give them an application, which I think that's what we will do. The goal here is partially, ideally, to do that, which is get Portugal to stand down. So we got Macau back without doing any fighting. And with that, I suppose it's time... at any point now, we can just go ahead and swap from closed borders to migration controls to allow some migration into and out of us. Factions currently in government actually support this. Yeah, let's go ahead and do migration controls. That way I can basically repeat what happened in the first blooper, which is we had a journal entry encouraging us to do migration controls previously. So we kind of did it in slightly different order, but we're basically repeating what we did in the first time. You want a diplomatic play against Spain. We'll look into this. This is maybe not the best of ideas. I think this actually counts as a diplomatic move against Spain, because Spain is your ruler. Okay, why don't we wait until the infamy comes down a little bit. want to try to stay under 25 infantry. But yeah, we've gone ahead and got recognition, so we're a little bit more willing to just spend into the black. We are holding off a little bit because I want to get on to railways, so we can build a bunch of railways. And now, tech-wise, we want to get down to banking, so we can do empiricism and central archives for improving our, basically, government taxation system. Okay, so now that we have... Yeah, I'm putting aside... Let's probably build up more iron production. Build up iron production is slowly transitioning everything over, construction-wise, over to the steel frame, iron frame. I suppose if that's the case, I should queue up a bunch of... Well, we got railways, so let's put in the queue what we need for railways. So we're going to need a steel mill, Shaanxi to start with, and an engine maker in Shaanxi to start with. And we'll go ahead and subsidize those. And then one thing we're going to do is we're just going to be building railroads everywhere and setting them to auto-expand. If profitable, please expand, basically. So as part of the federal unity, China effectively has multiple crises. One of those crises is obviously the opium one that we dealt with, the opium wars that we started with at the beginning of the game. Another one is basically the Holy Kingdom or the Taipei Rebellion, however you want to describe that rebellion. Which is historically the second one. To avoid that, you need to basically expel the Christian missionaries, which, to do that, you have to get all your treaty points back from the foreigners. So we need Macau back, and if we had lost the open wars to the British, we'd have to get Hong Kong back as well. Which I suppose, how much steel do I need to do that swap? About 3 steel works worth of steel, so we'll go ahead and plop those down as well. We'll spread these out as well, so we're going to have some steel there, we're going to have some steel there. Basically anywhere we have iron and coal, and construction, we're going to want steel eventually, so a little bit of steel spread around at the moment is good. Address the concerns of the minorities? Nah. We have more important things to do, like improving the nation. Or in this case, allowing the minorities to actually migrate away if they don't want to live in our country. Why the minorities would be opposed to that, I'm not sure. Working through these arms factories. Maybe don't need quite as many. I might go ahead and yeah, the import trade routes is driving the price down for the moment. Let's go ahead and all the ones that we haven't started on, just cancel them for the moment. Doing it focused on industrialization a little bit quicker. There we go. There's our migration controls. So we should have a new journal entry pop up. Whoops. Any neighboring state is a treaty port. Owner has a religion Christian trait. I did it apparently did it the wrong way around. So, well, we're not going to clear the Chinese missions. On the other hand, they're not going to do anything to us because we have no treaty ports. So, for the moment, that's not a problem. We might end up with another treaty port at some point by taking over someone like Siam. So we'll have to be a little bit careful about that. Okay, and looking at the time, this is probably a good place to go ahead and put the part break in. So we've gone ahead and taken Macau back. We've gone ahead and got recognition off of the Russians. It's now time, really, to both build the nation outwards by just taking over neighbors, and to build up our economy. So next time we'll probably go ahead and try to start a war to clear out a lobby demand here with Spain via the Philippines. We're going to get railways going, so we're going to get up a motor industries, and I'm basically planning to build a motor industry, or build a railway everywhere, so that's going to require more than a few motor industries, but we're only queuing up one for the moment. The extra steel will also allow us to swap over from iron tools to steel tools, which should be a little bit more efficient on that front. At which point we're going to try to backfill the iron to swap all the way over from wooden buildings to iron frame buildings. So that's kind of the plan for the next episode. So if you're watching on YouTube, I am recording this as time is available and not recording it in recording slot. So there is not guaranteed to be another part up tomorrow. Based on the time, this is probably where we're going to go ahead and stop the recording for today. So had things gone according to plan in the first part of the recording session, this would have been the second part. So we're having a blooper episode that will be added at some point to the playlist when we're done. So yeah, there's only going to be one recorded today, so I hope everyone who has been watching this, regardless of whether you're watching this good attempt at recording the episode or watching any of the bloopers, hope you've all been enjoying it. If you're watching on Twitch, if you scroll back to the beginning of the episode, or the beginning of the recording session, you can see the blooper. I'm going to hold off uploading the blooper until the rest of the playlist is done, so you on Twitch, or you on YouTube will have to wait a little bit for it. With that, wish you all the best of luck and a good time until the next part. And before I go ahead and log off, let's go ahead and get a save. So this is Great Qing stream, save 2, fixed, so there's no interruptions. And with that, bye for now.